Today we have Brady Mcann from BX Fit. Welcome aboard, Brady. So good to have you on the podcast and to hear your story finally. How's it all going where you are in the world today?
Going well. It's going well. Thanks for having me, Adam. I'm very, very stoked to be here. I'm in Hawaii right now, actually in a transitioning point, moving from Hawaii, where I've been for the past 5 years now, over to Florida. So in a very good, exciting transitioning part of my life right now, and very, very stoked to be here as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Look, one of the things that has impressed me is your social media skills and just your public communication, consistency, and I've seen it increase, and you've helped me personally with my social media skills.
Yeah.
So it's really, really fantastic. And then also you shared some, pretty amazing parts of your journey in business and how what like bold you've been in your business journey. And you're only young. What are you, 23?
Yeah, I just turned 23 last week.
Wow, happy birthday, man!
Thank you. Thank you.
Just so impressive, man. Tell it. How did it all start? Like, where were you born? How did life start for you?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So very, very poor state. My mom had me when she was 18, and I was born into a very poor family. And I grew up moving all over the place. So my mom and my dad never got married. And as my mom married somebody else, I moved all over the country. So I've lived in Oklahoma 3 times. I've lived in Florida 2 different times. California, Texas, all over the place, which has been both an amazing blessing, being able to experience so much, while also being a curse, having to learn how to make new friends and adapt to new experiences very, very quickly. Then
Mm-hmm.
I came to I came to high school as I had gone back to Oklahoma for the third time. I had been an avid soccer player, football, if you want to call it that, for most of my life, and had started taking it really, really seriously around age 14 or 15. Started on the E team, actually, and then worked my way up to the top level team, and eventually got a scholarship offer to come play in Hawaii, which is where I ended up playing soccer and how I even transitioned over here. So that's where everything began.
Interesting. Wild. So that was since you were a teenager, so like 10 years ago or something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly right. So I have always been somebody who, I experienced California, the mountains and that sort of thing. And then I was also living in Florida where I experienced the ocean. And so I always, am very big on you only get what you think you deserve. And so, I was 14 or 15 years old, and it would be, as somebody with ADHD, I was sitting there in my journal drawing palm trees and writing Hawaii, and thought to myself, how cool would it be if I could just go play soccer somewhere so far away from this place, Oklahoma, the farthest place I could think of. And I ended up, making it happen just through, kind of some sheer determination, a little bit of luck, and God on my side as well. But yeah,
That's incredible. So I guess that's kind of the start of your fitness journey, like being a semi-professional athlete. Yeah, like
yeah. I mean, that's definitely a big part of it. I think I was blessed because both my mom was a personal trainer, and then my dad has been a bodybuilder my entire life. So by the time I was 15, I would I would take my car out. The legal age limit to drive is 16. I would sneak out of my house at 4:30 a.m. before school, take my mom's car, drive it to the gym, get a lift in, and then come home all before everybody was awake. Before school, so that I had the ability to lift, because I've loved fitness for so long, and it was always a way out for me.
right. Wow. Okay, so that's incredible. Like that's not many people do that in school. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I can't say it's a smart decision, but it was a decision for sure that I made, and it solidified that I was somebody who was willing to take risks in order to get
yep,
the outcome that I desired. So it implanted something in me at that time.
yeah, yeah. Wow. Okay, so tell us the story getting into business, and you share this wild story like selling your car and doing sports. And
Yeah.
tell us about
So I was in a very interesting place where I had gotten good grades my entire life, and to be very frank, it was not because I was necessarily the smartest. I think I am smart, but it was because I was the most effective at cheating. And no matter what grade I was in, whether I was in high school or even college, I would work harder to cheat to get a good score than I would to just study, unless I was interested in it. And the only things I had interest in were the sciences of the body, so microbiology, anatomy and physiology, things of
Yep.
the body. So my entire way through high school and college, I was cheating, and I was always afraid to admit that, but it's part of who I am now. And so I'm playing college soccer. I'm waking up at 5 a.m. I'm going to go lift with the team, go work out from 5 to 6:30. 6:30 to 8 is practice. Then I go to school, and I'm a bio major. I'm supposed to be this doctor, the first doctor in the McCann family. And, I study for 8 or 9 hours at school. I come home, I study for an hour, and I'm financially independent on my own in the most expensive state in the US. Definitely challenging, but of course a blessing as well. So I didn't know what else to do. And all I knew how to do very well, even as just a kid, was hustle. I would rather hustle and make as much money as possible. So I bought a moped and I would do Uber Eats. And it did not matter how many laws I would break, I would just do Uber Eats for hours on end. And I was averaging, $40 an hour delivering pizza and pho to people in the mountains of Hawaii. So I'm doing that for a while, and eventually it just got to a point where I was sick and tired of it. So I didn't tell anybody, but right before the third year of college, I told my coach I'm quitting soccer. I can't do this anymore. It's just not for me. I knew there was something internally that had changed, and I didn't want to be a doctor anymore. And so I dropped out, and I told my parents I'm going to go to community college. It's much cheaper. I'm paying for my college on my own. So I'm going to figure out what I want to do. And I thought I wanted to go into anesthesia, so I'm still taking these medical classes. And to be honest with you, what happened was I told my mom, "Hey, I need this loan from the school so that I can continue to do all of these things." And instead, I spent it on having fun. I went to Arizona to hang out with my friends. I was documenting everything and posting it on TikTok, and it looked like I was having this crazy life. And 3K that is a loan from the government in my bank account, and I'm using it to post on social media. So eventually, it's January of 2025, and my money is just about ran out. And all I have is this moped and this very old Honda CRV. I bought it for like $3,200, and I'm kind of running out of time. And I've told nobody. My parents think I'm doing well in school. I'm sitting there, and this guy reaches out to me on Instagram, and he says, "Dude, have you ever thought about really taking this seriously?" And in the back of my mind, of course, that's all I want to do. Is I just want to post content. I want to inspire. I want to have fun. I want to live this life of freedom that I couldn't even see being possible. And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, that's going to be $3,000." And I looked at him, and I said, "I don't have that." And what he said literally changed my life forever. He looked me directly in the eyes, and I saw him have his finger right here. And he says, "Resources versus resourcefulness." And he hangs up the meeting. And I was just sitting there. I was like, I don't even know what that means. That day, I listed my car on Facebook Marketplace. I sold it for $3,000, and I gave the $3,000 to him, and I said, "Let's go." And that was the start of my business right there. And I still work with him actually as my mentor, and also a co-founder of a business that I'm a part of as well. And so he's a very close friend of mine and somebody I credit to, a large part of where I'm at now. And yeah, huge risk and absolute delusion and, absolute insanity overall.
Wow. That's so bold. Wow. Okay. So
Or
that
stupid,
sounds,
one of the two.
yeah, yeah. Well, maybe it could have been, but
Yeah,
there was some, but it worked.
it worked.
What did you learn out of that? And then what came out of that? I mean, I know because I've watched your journey, but I mean,
Sure.
yeah.
Well, I think what's interesting is like we measure success on social media by the numbers. And I have 50,000 followers, and even with me not going viral anymore, trying to go viral, I still average multiple millions of views a month just due to the amount I post and how I speak and stuff like that. And really, the thing that I learned in that moment is that your success is purely dictated on what you believe is possible. And I always felt like I deserved more in my life. And there are these weird universal laws like You only get what you think you deserve. And in that moment, I believed that I deserved a better life. And in order for me to be successful, I had to take steps in order to achieve that. There had to be action behind what I believed. And so, seriously, and I preach this to everybody, if you have delusional confidence about what you can achieve, the only thing that's really truly stopping you from living the life that you want to live, or having the bank account that you want to have, or the body or the confidence, is just you and your own limiting beliefs. And that translates across so many avenues across life, whether that is your body and your weight loss journey, which I speak to people about every single day, whether that's your business, whether that's your confidence. Everything stems from who you truly believe you are and your identity. And so in that moment, taking that risk and actually taking action and doing something absolutely delusional ended up leading me to where I am now, sitting on a podcast, being able to hopefully inspire a whole bunch of other people. And when you're able to operate from that place of abundance and conviction, the world rewards it back to you. And so I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned, is that just that delusional confidence can take you to places that you never thought were even possible.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just brilliant. So, okay, so then out of that, you've done the course, and then is that when BX Fit launched? Was that
Well,
directly, or was that like a couple of stages after that?
yeah, I mean, it started, it's so funny. And I speak to people about this all the time. There's this interesting thing where people are like, how did you start? When did you start? And I just did it. I just did it. I paid the dude $3,000 and I said, let's do it. And he said, you're posting twice today and you're not going to stop until you have the life that you want. And then I just did it. I went outside and I took off my shirt and I banged my stomach with a piece of wood and I said, POV, you replace the rice for lettuce. And that was the start of my journey. And it didn't take anything else besides just putting action behind it. And that was that was really it. And so a lot of people are like, what should I do first? Like, what should I put something on my story? Do I, change my bio? And I'm like, you just gotta go. You just gotta start. And getting your foot in the door, just like the gym, is actually harder than lifting the weights and doing what
Yep.
needs to be done. It's
Yep.
just starting. And I personally believe that there are two steps to get ahead of 99% of people. The first one is just starting. That puts you ahead of 99. And then the other percent to get ahead of the 99% of those people is to just keep going when it gets hard. And if you can do those two things, I think you get past majority of people in the world.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Alex Hormozy talks a lot about that, like the adversity, the difficulty reframed as a good thing because your competition is also facing that adversity, and hopefully it knocks them out. And if as long as you just don't stop,
Yeah,
then you're in front of them, and then you have to succeed.
absolutely.
If you stop, then you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Okay, so you've done the course, you've got no money, you start posting like a few hours later,
Yeah.
and then but then you've got a business.
Yes. Yeah, literally. So I ended up getting my first sale that week. So my first sale was a prior soccer player that I had on my team growing up, and I'm shaking on the phone as I'm pitching him. I just learned how to do a sales call a couple hours earlier. I'm literally shaking, and I'm like, "It's $500 a month." And he's like, "Cool," and he pays it. And I'm like, I see my first online money happen, and that moment it was over. I was like, okay, this is different. I get goosebumps all over my body. I'm like, oh, this is real. Like, this isn't something
Yeah,
that is just a fantasy. And yeah, I mean, that first month, I even have screenshots of it. Whenever people say they're afraid, what if I don't make money in my first 6 months? I always show them this. I'm like, if you are delusional enough and you are optimistic enough, and I always show them these screenshots. It was like my first month was 2K, my next month was 8K, and my next month was 19. So I went from never having more than $150 in my bank account besides the loan to having like 25 grand in my bank account in those first couple months. And that changed everything for me. That 90-day sprint to just completely become somebody new and build the business and really step into ownership of a new life. That was what actually changed everything.
Yeah, wild. Wow. And so, what's the biggest month you've had since then? Can I ask?
Yeah, it was in March. I did 32K in March, and that was my biggest month so far.
Wow. Okay, a month at 23 years old. That's just fantastic. And that's
Thank you.
only 1 year, maybe within 1 year of starting?
Exactly 1 year, technically. Yeah, yeah.
That is fantastic. Nice
Thank you.
work, man.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay, so tell me about the difficulties. Like, how close did you come to giving up? Are there any landmines? Tell us about that.
Man, I think something that's interesting and something that I'm still learning is like, I don't think there comes a time, or at least I haven't experienced yet. I'm looking towards the future where there isn't a part of me that's like, dude, like, I want to give up. Like, there are days that are just so hard, and not necessarily just from a business perspective. Obviously, like, your pipeline runs dry and you get a little bit of anxiety. The month starts over from, it's July 1st. Well, oh shit, the clock just restarted. It's arbitrary. It's not real, but that pressure that you feel. But I think for me, the biggest roadblock was the loneliness. And I speak about this sometimes. It's this little gap I like to call the middle. And so you got to keep in mind, like, me starting this business, all of my house is filled with dudes I went to college with. I'm living with four other guys who played college soccer with me. So I've only just dropped out of soccer. I've dropped out of school and I'm doing online school. I'm filming these silly videos. And of course, these are these 20, 21, 22-year-old guys. And they're all giving me shit for, posting on social media. And at this time, I have like 1,000 followers. It's not anything impressive. And what was really interesting is I watched as all of the people who I was closest to start slowly becoming bitter because they realized that I was doing something that they never could. And they felt guilty about not pursuing their true potential. So they projected it onto me.
Mhm.
And what was really interesting is, like, they were in this spot over here where I could no longer relate to them. I had no interest in going out or hooking up with people or doing things that a normal college dude would. Yet all of the people who have successful businesses and have the lives that I want, I'm not yet valuable to be able to speak to them and talk to them and relate to them. So I'm in this gap, a very prolonged gap. And Hermosi, like you talk about, he says it's like you're sitting in the auditorium and it's empty and the only person in there clapping for you is you. And that's how it felt for a very long time. And so I think for me, there are always more leads. There are always more money to be made. And of course, there are months that don't do as good as others. There will always be months where there are huge dips and then you have these giant, exciting moments. But I think the biggest thing is, like, in order for you to evolve and moreover become a better business owner, you have to scale too internally. And that requires you to do things and become somebody you've never been before. And oftentimes that requires outgrowing the people in your life who you thought supported you and who you were close to, because it's more than likely that they will no longer be able to relate to you. And so that's really been for me, especially in a place like Hawaii where there's such a relaxed environment all the time. It's been very, very challenging for me to find like-minded people. Hence why I'm moving to Tampa to be closer to hustlers and stuff like that. But I think really that roadblock for me has been always the biggest thing.
Interesting. Yeah, that's fantastic. What is coming up next? So, from there, you've launched BX Fit. We've discussed that you have a new venture.
Mm.
Tell us more about the new venture that you're stepping into.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll kind of start from the beginning here. So it was a couple months into me starting BX Fit actually, and a company had approached me and they had asked me, "Hey, will you coach our team? Will you coach our business?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely will." And they were willing to pay me monthly, more money than I had ever seen in my entire life. Like, up to that point, they were willing to pay me more per month than I had made in general. Because this was very exciting to me until I found out that they essentially promoted adult videos and they were the creators of these huge websites where they were not things that aligned with my values. And I have a pretty strong relationship with God. So for me, that felt so morally misaligned with what I was supposed to pursue that I had to let it go. And I say it in that way because I think that everything good comes when you let go, when you've detached from the outcome. And so I had this idea. I had talked to attorneys and lawyers about how to structure the contracts. I had, parquets to keep people on both sides safe. I had done all of these things in order to make this happen. And it just came to a halt. And I just let go of it. Now, I was in Tampa a couple weeks ago, and I met with a very close friend of mine. His name is Jack. Jack Hartford, incredible person, one of my closest friends. Very hard worker, inspires me in a lot of ways. And we were at dinner, and he brought this idea up, and he says, I've been thinking about how cool it would be if we, instead of just fishing with a pole, we fished with a net instead, and we went to corporations and we worked with all of them, because as I'm sure most people have seen on Instagram, there are about 10 billion fitness coaches, and they're all fighting for the same people, which is just dudes with money. And so you're all fighting one on one for these individual people. And so we both had that same thought. It's like, what if we fished with a net instead? What if we went to these businesses and we helped them with their corporate wellness programs, but instead it was one-to-one coaching. We already have the proof. We have the systems in place. We understand the impact and the amount of it changes people's lives. Why don't we just do it on a more massive scale? And so, that's there's a lot more nuance that goes into it, but that's kind of what me and Jack are doing right now, building something we think will be a multiple 8 and 9 figure business very, very soon. There's nobody in the market who will be doing what we are going to do. And I think that that's what's so exciting about it, is just having such a unique angle, being able to come in, and nobody else can replicate it as well. And so it's a very special thing where it just felt like, I let go of it and all of a sudden it fell right back into my lap. And so many stars had aligned to make that specific moment happen. And me and Jack were at the restaurant and he had that idea and he was like, do you want to do this? And I said, yes. We just clapped hands and went in and we were like, let's do it. And, we plan on speaking to a couple companies, very, very wealthy companies within the next week, and starting off, and we'll see where it goes, but very, very, very excited for it. I think it'll be incredible.
So exciting. That's really powerful. Like the fact that you cut it off, like you took the risk in saying no
Mm,
based on values, and then here you are, like with a fresh opportunity and
right.
possibly, probably a lot bigger than the original idea.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think so. I kind of see it as like, is this a reward? Is this a reward for saying no the first time and playing that game of long-term obedience and gratification? And it's what it feels like right now.
Yeah, wow. That's so exciting. Wow. So tell us, what's some advice you would give to a young entrepreneur who might be watching this?
I think that the things that you feel like make you ordinary are actually what makes you incredible. And I meet a lot of people who ask me for advice and DM me every day. How I want to start. I want to do this, but I just feel like my story isn't that special. I don't feel that special. I don't know if I have the ability to inspire other people. And I was like, and it sounds funny to me almost, because I'm the dude who was delivering pizzas a year ago. Just over a year and a half ago, I was the same guy who was begging for tips on a mobile app delivering food. And so when people say this to me, I'm like, how could you possibly say that? And I understand, because in the moment I felt the same way. My back is against the wall, and that kind of produced the same results. But I think what people don't realize is what makes them exceptional is not that their story is crazy, but because they're so unique in their own story. And that is what makes them incredible. And so I think this world that we live in, where our social medias are flooded with the highlight reels of people who have been in the game 10 times longer than us, it gives us this analysis paralysis where we just don't even want to start. We don't even want to try because we feel so low about where we are in life. And I think as long as you operate from that place of scarcity, instead of appreciating that what you've gone through actually makes your story special, you'll continue to stay stuck. And when you truly kind of walk into that version of you that realizes you are unique because of your own personal experience and what you've lived through and the lessons that you've learned, and your mission is to help other people see that, that is when you'll find the most success. And so that's kind of the what I'd give to somebody who's starting out on their journey, is that what makes them special is what they feel like is so ordinary about themselves.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's gold. Okay. Okay, that's something anyone can relate to that, obviously.
Large Tam.
Yeah, yeah, that's powerful. What are your thoughts about traditional education, college, university versus hustling? Is university still worth it?
It is on university is a scam unless you are a doctor, a teacher, an engineer, or a lawyer. If you are doing anything other than those, especially now in a world of AI and Google where every single bit of information is free, then you are getting absolutely scammed. I see so many people with so much potential who want to play it safe, uh, who refuse to invest in themselves, but are stuck in school. And I think that school, whenever you think in a broader picture, is only just a way for you to stay stuck. And I understand this is the classic like young entrepreneurial answer, but the more I think about it, like what's wild to me is how many people are like, "Yo, bro, not buying your course, bro. You know, not buying your course." Yet they're out of school and they're
Right.
going in hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt every year to take courses. And so it's crazy to me that we have all of these resources and all of these courses online you could take to invest in yourself and become better. I'm living proof of it. I speak of this with conviction because I live it. And then we have people who are like, yeah, bro, I would never do that. And they're at an internship, not getting paid, making other people money who weren't afraid to invest in themselves. And so I think that unless you are, like I said, a doctor, a teacher, an attorney, like in law, or an engineer, you are just building somebody else's dream. And if you're okay with that and that makes you happy, then all for you. But I personally could never live and wake up at 6 or 7 a.m. every morning and go and build somebody else's dream. It's just not me. So personally, I'm going to give school, with the exception of those four categories, absolute scam.
Yeah, yeah. Especially with AI
Come
and
on.
the speed in which AI is developing too. Like, I mean, sure, yeah, like an an anesthetist. Like, you don't want someone who's done an online course. Like,
You don't want me doing that.
yeah, yeah, you want a medical professional who has
Yes.
studied or whatever. But yeah, for business degrees, yeah, it's a bit of a waste of money. I mean, Australia is pretty similar to the US in terms of cost of fees. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like,
Mm,
such an enormous amount of money.
yeah.
Wow. Books. Are you a reader?
I love reading. Absolutely love reading.
What book would you or books would you recommend for a young entrepreneur starting out?
Outliers. Outliers was a wonderful book for me. And it really put into perspective just how everything in the universe is always working for you. And you see this everywhere. And whenever you prime your mind to see it, it's like almost impossible to miss. And so Outliers was a very good book for me to read because it allowed me to see how many things, whether you call it God or the universe, whatever that entity may be for you, it's always working for you. There are specific things that have happened in your life and only to you via your experiences or your circumstances that give you the push that you need in order to be successful, but only if you have the balls to take it. And so Outliers, I think, would be the book that I would recommend for anybody because incredible. I think it's absolutely amazing how uh, your circumstances work for you if you're willing to look at it that way.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, Malcolm Gladwell, right?
Wish I
I
could
think
tell
it's
you. That sounds right. I'll say yes to sound smart. Not
yeah,
really sure.
a great
Yeah.
book. I love it. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, I've got some fast fire questions here.
Awesome.
Discipline or motivation?
Discipline all the time.
Money or freedom?
Freedom.
Both.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think they connect, but I'm going to have to go with freedom on that one.
Cool. Good answer. Business partner or solo founder?
I would have said solo founder as I created my business, but now that I have a co-founder or co-founders, very easy for me to say co-founders if you find the right ones.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
good
a big
answer.
one.
We've already covered this. University or mentorship?
Mentorship all the way, every time.
Talent or consistency?
That's a hard one. Consistency. Yeah, I'll leave it there. I would talk too long.
Morning workouts or evening workouts?
Evening workouts.
Really? I wasn't
Yes.
expecting that one. Save money or invest in yourself?
Invest in yourself.
One book every entrepreneur should read?
Yeah, outliers for sure.
Outliers, yep.
Yes.
One person you would want as a mentor?
Oh, that's a great question. Shucks. Oh man, you might have caught me on one here. Greg Lavecchia, owner of Bloom.
Oh, good answer. I don't know who that is. I'm going to Google that later. One habit responsible for your personal success?
Um, Time alone. The world has created a way for us to always be distracted, and I think that your ability to sit in silence and recognize your own thoughts and be stoic is a long lost art for many people. And those who can conquer that can conquer anything.
Good answer. Describe success in one word.
Provision.
Good answer. Excellent. That's great, Brady. Just,
Those were
man.
good questions. Those were really good questions.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, man. Love hearing the story. And it's just incredible that you've achieved all this in the last year at the age of 23.
Thank you.
It's pretty mind blowing and inspiring. So
Thank you so
can't wait
much.
to share this with the lads in the group. Man, where can people follow your journey online?
Yeah, on Instagram mainly is probably best. Brady.Mcann, Brady.McCann. Three N's because fortunately two is taken.
Excellent. We'll put a link in the YouTube vid and anywhere
Perfect.
we post this, so it's easy to find you. But
Fantastic.
that's so good, man. We look forward to following your journey up in the future to see what happens with this new venture. If you've achieved so much with BX Fitness, then I can't wait to see what the next venture
Thank you.
holds for you. So
I
pretty
appreciate
exciting
it.
times.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, Adam. Pleasure talking to you as always, my friend.
Cheers, man. Talk soon. Thanks for following the Fireside. Fireside is all about supporting men in business and life. If you want to connect and learn from men who have built a 7 to 9 figure business from nothing, then get in touch via the link below. If your business needs anything from accounting, legal, finance, insurance, or fundraising, get in touch via the link below and we'll see how we can assist you. We look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.